Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. One thing we can say with certainty about narcissists is they're constantly looking for a way to maintain an advantage over you. Now, when we talk about narcissists, we can have narcissists of the overt variety, and they don't leave a whole lot of room to the imagination. They're going to be very blatant in their way of trying to have an advantage over you. They're extremely controlling, loud and brash and in charge. They can have abusive anger. They can be very manipulative and have this real strong force of character. Now, over time, when you're around someone like this, they tend to wear you out. We have another category of narcissism, though, and these are a little bit more sly. They're what we refer to as the covert narcissists. Covert narcissists are every bit as controlling and self-centered as their overt counterparts. They just don't let you see it up front. You see, they've decided that the more they play their hands right up front, then the less power they may have in the long run, at least in their way of thinking. And so they have all sorts of sneaky ways to try to get you to think that they're actually a much nicer person than they really are. And that impression is part of their narcissism. Keep in mind that they're very skilled at living inside alternate reality, and they make stuff up as they go along, and then living behind the false front. Now, many people will ask me, well, does that mean that covert narcissists are all of them introverts? Well, actually, introverted narcissists may be more inclined towards the covert narcissism, but covert narcissists can still be very extroverted as well. Be friendly, life of the party, good conversationalist, be helpful at times, and seem to be the kind of person you'd want to be around. But over time, even those individuals, they begin to show their colors, but it takes time for it to come out all the way into the open. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you or talk with you about the patterns that tend to be very consistent with the covert narcissist. And then I want you to see how their mannerism, if you will, actually gives them, at least in their mind, some distinct advantages over all the other narcissists out there in the world. For example, when we talk about people that have the covert narcissism, one of the patterns we see is that they will think and feel in condescending ways toward other individuals, but they're more stealth about it. They can have that attitude, but they just don't show it in public. Behind the scenes, they hold people in condescension. It's like, oh, you're such a lowlife. They're just not going to be quite as forthright in saying it, at least not up front in the early times. In addition, a part of the pattern of covert narcissism is that they can seem to be both friendly and approachable, but you'll notice that over time, all that friendliness still comes with a shield of defensiveness. They don't really want you to know stuff that's going on in their world. They deflect and they do a lot of justifying and rationalizing and denial. I don't have the problems you may think I have. And so the friendliness always comes with a wall that's attached to it. In addition, covert narcissists can give advice to you of the unsolicited variety. Now, what they'll do is they'll imply, well, I'm trying to help you. But when we have this ongoing unsolicited advice, and hey, let me tell you how to do this, ultimately it begins to display their critical nature. It's like, why are you so busy trying to tell everybody else how to do things in the name of being nice, when in fact you just keep doing it over and over? It's their control tendency. It's their critical mindset. They think they know more than you. They're just trying to present it in a little bit more palatable type of way. In addition, when you have opinions or preferences or priorities, they can pretend to go along for a while, but over time you're going to find that it's just that. It's pretense. They're not really impressed, and so they might try to go along to get along, but they're not going to be very enthusiastic with you, and you're going to kind of wonder, why aren't they keeping up with me? And the answer is because they hold you in disdain. They think you're stupid. They just don't want you to say it up front. And they can have a certain amount of sluggishness in the way that they engage with you if your initiatives aren't the same as their preferences. On top of that, they'll cooperate with you only when they feel like they have the final word. You see, the cooperation is going to be just fine and dandy as long as it's like, yeah, let me tell you this, let me give you that advice. And so their cooperation is just their way of trying to say, I need to keep you inside my grooves and my orbits. That's how they work with you. They're real friendly when you do what they want them to do. In addition, these individuals, part of their pattern is they like to know your junk. Although they're going to deny having similar problems. They don't want you to see their flaws, but they do like gathering up information about you. They can be very thin-skinned. When you have differences with them, that just the fact that you're different, they interpret that as an attack, a referendum on them, and you will end up apologizing to them for differing. Even though it's like, well, I just had a different idea. It's like, no, you're against me. And they can give off that aura, even though they may not come out in that overpowering kind of combative kind of way. These individuals need power, but often their power is gained by seduction or by phony concern. Because once they let you know, hey, I want to know who you are, they're hoping you're going to think, wow, what a nice person. It's like, yes, keep that in mind. I am really nice, at least as far as it works to my advantage. In addition, covert narcissism, this is a real big indicator that you're dealing with a strong narcissistic person. They tend not to be able to manage complexity very well. They have such a tight notion about how things are supposed to be. They want things inside the grooves, and they don't really want to empathize. And by that, I mean understand you from your perspective. That whenever things get a little bit too complex, it's like, this is outside my comfort zone. Get back over here. They'll try to nudge you back a little bit more friendly, but you'll notice they don't really like being stretched very much. In addition, they can send signals of affirmation, but you're going to notice that what they're really wanting is deference. If they can give you signals that say, hey, I really like you, then when you do, it's like, good. Now you're going to continue to defer to me, and you're going to continue to do what I want. So even their affirmation can have a hook on the backside. In addition, covert narcissists are skilled secret keepers. They can tell lies. Many of their lies are by omission, but they're not going to be really honest with you, even though they can give you the impression, oh, I'm one of the most trustworthy people you ever met. And then, in addition, they're very strongly inclined towards passive-aggressive anger, stubborn non-cooperation, and sometimes it can be very ugly, but they can just have this mindset that says, you really do bug me. I may not yell at you, although the more you get to know them, they may go there. But they let you know, I have this annoyance, and you're the target of it. Now, at the base of the covert narcissist way of thinking, they really have the idea that says, I don't really hold you in that high of regard. I just find you to be useful. And as long as you remain useful to me, I'll keep you around. Can you see how this gives them a certain advantage, if you will, over that overt narcissist? They can create the impression of decency without being decent. In other words, their essence doesn't really match pitch, even though they know what the external aspects of it are, and that's part of their advantage. You don't see what's really going on inside of their soul. They can keep you in their orbit, and they will continue to bring you around in their orbit as long as they feel like you're giving them the narcissistic supply that they want. You know, the affirmation, or you're good for taking care of tasks and functions and things like that. But it's all very utility based. They can create a likable public image, but it becomes a diversion, their public image, their public image, it becomes a diversion from you knowing about their deep feelings of hatred and contempt. You know, I'm a friendly person. I don't have hate. Yes, I do, but I'm not going to let you know about that. And that's part of their advantage. You just don't see how ugly they can feel on the inside. They can create, another of the advantages they have is they can create a team of loyalists. You know, they want you to become loyal to them because they're going to be nice and pleasant. But you're going to find out over time Their loyalty is a one-way street. They don't reciprocate it toward you, even though they demand it in reverse. In their mind, the more I can impress you with the least amount of vulnerability about me, I win. I'm in the power position. They're deeply insecure. They're very competitive. In other words, they have to be in the upper position over you. They have very, very low levels of trust, which is part of their need to control. They have very low regard for anyone who doesn't immediately defer to them. They're, like I said just a minute ago, they're extremely prone towards contempt and hatred. They have close to zero capacity for authenticity. And yet, they can still be pleasant and nice. That's how they operate. So I'm hoping you can see that just because a person can give the veneer, it doesn't really tell you that that's somebody that you can place your trust in. It takes time to get to know individuals. Narcissists, the covert narcissists in particular, can give the impression, oh, I'm going to be really nice. You're going to be glad something going on with Gus there. You're going to be glad that you got to know me. But really, all they want is control over you. And once you begin seeing some of the control and some of the criticism and the agitation, and you begin picking up on the red flags, listen to yourself and recognize something very different is going on in there that's not consistent with what they have on the outside. You're dealing with a toxic person, and over time, that toxicity is going to become more and more prominent. Listen, pay attention, listen to what you see, and then move on. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you an awareness of what we're dealing with. This whole topic of narcissism has so many nooks and crannies to it, and that's why I put the videos out there. If you haven't already subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. Gus and I will continue to bring more videos. Gus wanted to have a couple of words in there, didn't he? If you have a need for therapy, and I know many times when you're dealing with something like this, you can have the desire that says, I need to talk with somebody to help me sift it out. You know that I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. They're an online therapy resource. You can go through the link, answer a few questions, and then you can choose a therapist that you can work with. It's so good to have somebody that says, let's break this down. Let's figure out who you are, what your needs are, what you're up against, and you can actually have somebody that can help you sort it out. Get the help that you need. In addition, you know that in my retirement, I've been putting together, I do these videos, of course, but I've been putting together some courses. And the courses reflect my 40 years in the therapy office, where each course has at least 25 teaching videos. Each video has documentation that goes with it, along with guided questions. We have the anger games, which is all about staying unhooked from their anger, because there's a lot of ways that they try to pull you in. In addition, we have This Is Me, about boundaries, free to be, ready, set, connect, healthy relationships. And then on my website, we have my webinars, which are 90-minute presentations, different nature, along with access to my podcast, articles, books, all that kind of good stuff. Narcissists are narcissists. They can be overt, they can be covert, but any way you look at it, they have self at the center of the universe. They're not all that concerned about you. Some are just a little bit better in disguising it than others, and that's where you're going to need to have the awareness that we're talking about. And as you're onto this, and you begin picking up, and you feel something in your gut that says something isn't right, like I say, pay attention to it, and then be a student of human nature. And as you are, I'm hoping you can commit yourself to being the much better authentic self, where you can have steadiness and realness. And then in the end, it can lead you to your place of internal peace.